Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IS English. In our today's video, we'll try to understand why is Article 244A, which is related to the state of Assam, in news presently. Now, in his maiden speech, Dr. Tuliram Ronghang, who is the MLA from Ronghang Legislative Assembly constituency in the state of Assam, he was making a speech in the Assam Assembly. And in this speech, he renewed his long-standing demand for implementation of Article 244A of the Constitution, which creates autonomous state within the state of Assam, specifically consisting of three districts. That is Karbi Anglong, West Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao districts. Now, in order to understand this topic in great detail, we need to first understand why there is a particular demand for Article 244A for these three specific districts only. And for that matter, what kind of benefits does Article 244A provides, which the existing provisions of the Constitution do not? So we'll understand that in our particular video, and the notes which I will be using for our today's session, you can also download them by going to a particular Telegram channel called as ATS Live. I know Telegram is not working right now, but it will from 22nd of June onwards. So do not forget to go to this channel, download the notes, and also subscribe to this channel for future such notes. Right now, let us start by giving you a brief background. Now, whenever there is an election in the state of Assam, Lok Sabha election or state elections, all the political parties, irrespective of their ideologies, they always make a promise. They say that if we come to power, we will implement Article 244A of the Constitution and provide you an autonomous state within a state. And this demand and this promise from the political parties have been made since decades. So why has this demand is yet to be fulfilled? We'll try to understand that as well. First, let us discuss the social profile of a particular area in Assam called as Difu. Now, out of total of 14 Lok Sabha constituencies in the state of Assam, Difu is one of the constituencies which is also the most sparsely populated. You can understand the amount of voters in this Lok Sabha constituency is only 8.9 lakhs. Compare that to Lok Sabha constituencies in Delhi, which have upward of 35 lakh voters. So you can understand the size of this constituency in terms of voters is pretty small. Now, as this constituency majorly consists of tribal population, so it is also a reserved seat for scheduled tribes. And within this Difu Lok Sabha constituency, there are 6 assembly seats in the State Legislative Assembly of Assam, which are spread across 3 tribal majority districts. These are Karbi Anglong, West Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao districts. Now, let us try to understand what are the political profile of this state. Now, this particular state, this particular region, these 3 districts that I've told you, is administered under the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution. In the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution, which provides for provision of administration of tribal areas specifically only in 4 states of the northeast, that is Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram, this is a 6th schedule area, and this area is administered under 2 separate autonomous councils. First is Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council and second is Northern Kashir Hill Autonomous Council. So these are the autonomous councils who get their power directly from the 6th schedule, and they administer areas which fall under 3 hill tribal districts of the state of Assam: Karbi Anglong, West Karbi Anglong and the district of Dima Hasao. Now, what you have to understand that the voters who are present in these 6 legislative assembly seats of Assam are belonging to different communities. It includes Karbi tribes, which is the 3rd largest tribal group in the state of Assam. It includes other tribal groups like Dimasa, Mar, Kuki, Rengma Naga, Zeme Naga, Bodo, Garo, etc. And it also includes non-tribals like Assamese, Bengali, Bihari, Gorkha, etc. However, what you have to understand, the Lok Sabha seat has been represented continuously by the members of Karbi community since 1977, and currently all the 6 assembly constituencies of the State Legislative Assembly of Assam, from there the representatives belong to just one single party, that is the ruling party in the state of Assam, BJP. Right? So this is the social and political profile of the area called as Difu, which is a Lok Sabha constituency, and it includes 6 assembly constituencies spread across how many districts? 3 districts: Karbi Anglong, West Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao. Now let us talk about what is Article 244A of the Constitution. Article 244A of the Constitution was originally not present in the Constitution. Rather, it was introduced through 22nd Amendment of the Constitution in 1969. Now, this Article 244A, it enables the Parliament of India to pass an act which would allow it to form within the state of Assam an autonomous state, and it might comprise of some or whole areas which consist of certain specified tribes which will be specified in the act of the Parliament, and this can be implemented to areas including the Karbi Anglong areas. So this is what is Article 244A. Now you might understand, or you might be of curiosity, that if 6th schedule is already in application in the state of Assam, why do you need special provisions under Article 244A? So let us understand what benefits Article 244A provides that presently the 6th schedule is not able to. Now, in order for comparison, you need to understand an autonomous state within a state, like the areas under Article 244A, it will allow the state of Assam to provide a separate state within a state which would have its own legislature or council of ministers, or both of them. And this provision, you can understand, is a step forward or a step ahead of the protections given to tribal areas under 6th schedule of the Constitution, because 6th schedule of the Constitution provides that for governing tribal areas you can create autonomous councils, and these autonomous councils would consist of elected representatives, but in terms of powers, these elected representatives would have somewhat limited power. So what are the limitations on these elected representatives of autonomous council? Let us understand this. Now, first of all, 6 schedule areas are provided for a decentralized governance. So these autonomous councils are given legislative and executive as well as financial powers. But these legislative powers are somewhat limited. They do not have control over law and order, which is under the responsibility of the state government only, and they only have a limited financial power. So in terms of powers, the areas under 6th schedule are somewhat constrained, and in order to remove these constraints, the people of these tribal areas are demanding a greater autonomous status, which will only be available if they become a part of autonomous state within the state of Assam under Article 244A of the Constitution. Now, when has this demand actually started? Is this demand new or is this demand old? Let us try to understand this. Now, the demand for autonomy to create a separate state within a state from Assam is as old as a demand for hill tribal areas in the undivided Assam. Now, in undivided Assam in 1950s, there was this very big movement, especially from hill districts dominated by the tribal population, that we want a separate state, and as a result, it led to creation of Meghalaya, which is a full-fledged state now in the year of 1972. However, the promise was extended to leaders of Karbi Anglong, who was also demanding a separate state, but they chose to remain within the state of Assam because they were given a promise by the government that we would ensure implementation of Article 244A in your areas, so stay within the state of Assam. And that is why the leaders of Karbi Anglong and the Karbi tribes decided that they would remain a part of Assam even after some of the hill districts were divided and formed a separate state, that was Meghalaya in 1972. Now, what you have to understand, to demand this and to create pressures on the government, a pressure group was created called as Autonomous State Demand Committee, which you can understand is a kind of a mass organization which has continued to demand a higher autonomy for the hill tribal districts. Every time there is an election, this pressure group also contests that election. Along with many student bodies, these pressure groups signed a memorandum of settlement with the state as well as central government, which allowed it to enhance the powers of the two autonomous hill councils. So you need to understand their demands were not fully met, but in a way, the powers of autonomous hill councils, which are 6 scheduled councils, have been increased from time to time. But is this their ultimate demand? The answer is no. What is their ultimate demand? Their ultimate demand is implementation of Article 244A, which up till now hasn't happened. So why it hasn't happened? Let us understand this. Now, as this demand is still remaining elusive, so many sections of the tribal populations have picked up arms and started armed insurgency against the state. Now, To credit to the BJP-led government in both center as well as state, they have signed several peace accords with these militant groups, including the groups for Karbi and Dima Hasao tribes. But still, this demand actually persists. Now, in 2021, a peace settlement was reached with five militant groups in Karbi Anglong, and this was signed with the central as well as state governments. Now, the promises that were offered to these armed insurgent groups in exchange for peace of settlement, that they would receive greater autonomy and they would also receive a special development package of 1,000 crore rupees over a period of 5 years. So these were the promises made to these five insurgent groups when they signed this peace deal with the central as well as state governments. And in 2023, this similar kind of an agreement was also extended to Dima Hasao National Liberation Army, also an armed insurgent group. Now, what you need to understand, that the signing of this peace settlement still has not led to succession or has not led to fulfillment of their demand. So this demand still persists, and every time there is an election, all the political parties yet again they promise that whenever they come to power, they will implement Article 244A. Now, why is Article 244A so important? You need to understand the population and the area of this region. The area, combined geographical area of these three districts, Karbi Anglong, West Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao, it stands at more than 10,000 square kilometers. Now, put together, this area is more than the areas of some of the smaller states in Indian Union, that is Goa, Sikkim as well as Tripura. So, you need to govern this large area, and therefore you need to give them or accept their demand as an autonomous state which will be formed within the state of Assam. Now, why is this demand emerging now? Now, you have to understand, this demand for tribal people is not just a political issue. Rather, it is an demand which would fulfill their identity and aspirations. And it will also fulfill their aim of having a greater empowerment and having an ability to govern themselves on their own without any interference from the state administration. Now, at the time when the Assam government is engaging with many of the stakeholders relating to autonomy and regional development, and therefore an hope has emerged in the state of Assam, particularly in these three districts, that their demand is about to be fulfilled. So let us see how this development pans out. Whenever there will be a development, I will do a separate video. So are you happy with the kind of analysis that I've done? Please do let me know in the comment section. So people who are watching this, especially the people from Assam, do let me know what is your opinion on this demand. Are you in favor or are you against it? Do let me know in a very civil way in the comment section. And before we move forward and solve a PYQ from UPSC exam, you need to understand right now is the best time when you start preparing your UPSC for your UPSC exam. UPSC exam, which is scheduled in 11 months from now. 11 months is enough if you are very disciplined and diligent about your preparation. To be more disciplined, to be more structured, what you can do is take admissions to these P2I foundation courses, which will allow you to solve, assess, learn everything, right? So now these batches are available separately for the students who are looking to give exams in 27 or in 2028. So take admissions accordingly. And if you are taking the admissions, before making the payment, please remember to put this code. This will help you fetch maximum discounts. Now the offer of up to 50% off is going to end tomorrow, that is 18th of June. So keep that thing in mind. Okay. Now before we wind up for our today's discussion, this is the question that I'd want you to solve from the UPSC Prelims Exam 2015. The provisions of 5th and 6th schedule in the Constitution are made in order to do what? Out of these four options, one is correct. Do let me know which one. Now, before we wind up, the notes, if you want to download them, will be made available on the Telegram as soon as Telegram is available to all in India. Right? So this is all from my side. Please have a very good day. We'll see each other again tomorrow.